Hello and welcome to my hobby corner again. So let's talk about squats, or the space dwarves, as we can see in the picture here. And the newest army, well, newest and older army, I guess, which were in the day, but never really were an army, I guess, back in the day. But anyways, squats are back as Leagues of Votann, and they're awesome, and I want them. So let's jump in and go through some of the news that have been discussing on the Warhammer community about the squads. And it all started here April Fools. So we got a few months of news to go over. Not in any particular order, at least not a chronological order. I ordered them with the team of units and things I'm going to talk about. So anyway, so they started with April Fools, where they had this squad dwarf show up in this animated trailer, and they were asking what have they missing out since they've been eaten by the tyrannies as they were written out of the lore basically back in the day. So they've been not around for a while, and it was pretty, like it says in the article here, stunning news that there is actually a new army popping in. So here's the first model they showed of the new Leagues of Votann, which is the name of the new Space Dwarf faction. And it's been quite a buzz over the internet. And yeah, so a small, stunty guy with a gun that looks very Imperium, quite Imperial Guardish, and it's pretty neat. I immediately really liked this model. Also, my immediate thought, since we were playing a lot of Deep Rock Galactic at that point, and it's like, yes, this will make amazing conversions to make a small squad of Deep Rock Galactic dwarves and Molly going and looting some things. And I still might do that, to be honest. I still might consider that would be kind of cool, kind of crossover squads, dwarves, and I think it would make amazing conversion to do that. But yeah, this is the first model they showed, and there are some other sides of the model shown here as well. And there you can see that they're called Leagues of Votann, and they call themselves Kine. And there's a lot of really cool pieces about this. You can definitely see that the gun is very Imperiumish, although quite bulky. And then all of this like gear looks very Imperium influenced. But there's some cool pieces in the armor. They're very rounded shapes on the shoulder pads. The weird, much bigger looking like a backpack compared to like a Space Marines and so on. And then I guess there's like this Dwarven language, and I guess this is the faction logo, if I have to guess, and squad number on the shoulder there. And he looks pretty awesome. I also like the bionic eye and so on. And then they go explaining some simple things about the squads, and there's going to be more news. And it's very interesting lore-wise as well. I can't wait to hear like the full lore and everything. So squads, or the Leagues of Votann dwarves, they're all basically clones. So they've cloned the bodies for different purposes, and they're like stable clones. So it's not like usually in some of these sci-fis, for example Stargate, you have the Asgard, whose whole race is basically clones, and they're basically deteriorating because they can't really reproduce or anything. But these are like basically stable clones, and there's lots of variations of them and so on. And even down to their souls are basically manufactured, which is kind of cool aspect also. And it's drawn from this data banks of different dwarves, and they can basically make a new dwarf out of that. And they also leave only a small mark in the warp, basically. So they're not a very psychically intense race, which is fitting if you're comparing these to like dwarves from like Warhammer or fantasy in general. Dwarves are usually not very spellcastery. They're more like more than like anti-magic more than actually spellcasting. So that's kind of the equivalent of the psychers in Warhammer. So it's kind of interesting to see how that carries over between different fantasy settings. And let's jump to the next one. So there's the Saga of the Squats from Space Dwarves to Leagues of Votann, and they explain the lore, how you started with these very old Space Dwarf models, mercenaries from the first millennium. And then you got some trikes. We'll talk about this in a little bit later. Not a huge fan of these old ones. You can see that they're definitely drawing inspiration from the older dwarves from the fantasy with this. And then they show up some old tanks, and there's a train and some artillery and so on from Titan Legions. Some of the old banners, very rock and roll, kind of weird, to be honest. But it's very fitting for the times. There's a lot of similar art style also used in the fantasy and so on back in the day, in the like Rogue years and so on. And there's also kind of inspiration from like Celtic myth, like iconography and so on with this. And then we go back to the picture I showed originally, which is very space dwarfy with against the orcs. And they have this could literally be a model for a Warhammer Fantasy now. If you, I mean, even down to the cannons and everything. This could basically be a steam tank from fantasy. It kind of even is a steam tank. So it's kind of weird. And they're definitely moving more into the fantasy direction. Sorry, the sci-fi direction from this. It's not really in this anymore, which is a good thing for sure. And then they were basically killed off the tale of the Quiet Years, where a Tyrannid High Fleet basically wiped them out of existence, destroying their homeworld and so on. All the worlds ruled by the Leagues, and then they were gone. And then they had some cameos in different places in the Gothic, and also the Tau, Demiurge, and so on. And then they had some couple models later on in the Necromunda, like these ones, and there's actually some new Leagues of Votann models for the Necromunda as well, that we'll take a look at towards the end. And these are really cool models, actually. I love the look of these guys. They don't, I mean, they're dwarves in a sci-fi setting, but they're fairly generic, to be honest. Like, there's nothing really special. If you call it so space dwarf, this is a space dwarf, but it's not really anything special. Like especially if you want to make a faction out of them, and so on. But they're cool, anyways. And then now we are here. Basically, they're back in the Leagues of Votann. We have the same model again, and let's jump to the next bit. So they went into the lore here after they already talked about a little bit about the being clones and everything. And then also about the anatomy and everything. But of course, the very important part here is you see a model just alone floating, and it's kind of hard to tell anything like how big it is or anything. And there was some people talking about, I saw rumors that they might be a little too big for a dwarf. But then they showed how do they measure up, and I guess they also saw the people commenting that these dwarves look really big compared to some space marines and so on, but in this comparison at least, although I think he's on a smaller base than him, so I'm not sure or is it exactly measuring, but they should be 1.4 meters tall and fairly small dudes. And I saw some of the kit for the Necromunda is out for the Necromunda squads. The minor kind of guys, and they were I saw some comparisons of those compared to like Space Marines and Primaris Marines, which were obviously much bigger, as you can see here, and then also like to Imperial Guard and everything. So they're kind of Imperial Guardish size, but kind of much more bulkier, at least the standard model. So this is also a different model than the previous one, but it seems to be pretty much from the same kind of squad. Same gun and same kind of armor and everything. They have a kind of this like weird visor, very rounded shape. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of this helmet design. I do like the white part here, but the tealish with the white and the edge and the rounded visor. Not sure I would like to see more helmeted options and see how they look like with that. Like I guess with the beards and all the fancy hair and everything. Some of these dwarves are sporting. Having no helmet is kind of cool. He's kind of like nicely peeking from the hatch there, anyways, compared to like the marine next to him. So they're definitely on the smaller side. And I realized recently I've been painting some Chaos Space Marines and some small details on those. And after many years of modeling and taking a break in between, my eyes are not exactly what they used to be back in the day. And I might have to get some classes to paint some of the small details. So painting a small dwarf like this might need a magnifying class soon. We'll see. But yeah, then they talk about how they have still some of the functional STCs, and these are basically like blueprints more or less for some of the old technology that, for example, Adeptus Mechanicus is very interested, obviously, and also how Imperium has forgotten how to make some of these things. But the dwarves don't forget, and they have access to all kinds of technological stuff that the other Imperium affiliated factions may not have as easily, and they are not stuck in the technological rut like some of the other factions we could mention. And they have engineers called Brökhurs, I guess, and I wonder if we're gonna see a model for these guys. We haven't seen them yet, but I would imagine dropping a name, dropping this much lore about the engineers. They're dwarves. If you don't have a dwarf engineer fixing their trucks and whatnot, you are not doing justice to them, I guess. Anyways, and then they showed like this little guy who seems to be, I don't know, a small bot on tracks, and people are there's a different picture shown, and people are thinking that this might be in a new kill team because of that. We'll see, I guess. But we are here to do Google at some of these dwarves, and he's actually in red armor, which is the color scheme of these dwarves. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of this. Like this reminds me of like a 80s, 70s, and like kind of kitchen in Finland, and it's not a good look, at least in my mind. And with the rounded shapes and everything, and going with these colors, I'm not a huge fan, and I would love to see some other color schemes. And I've seen some people do some color shifts on some of the models and see how they look, and I do like there was one that was very red that I saw on Reddit, and that one was definitely a very nice looking one. So I think I might have to play with some of the color options myself as well. And then they go talking about how the Kinnan culture and how they are doing trading and interacting with other factions and so on. And they're almost interestingly like being traders. They're almost neutral, kind of between like Tau and the Imperium and some of the other factions, and they don't really care. They will do some business with you as long as you don't shoot them on site, more or less, which is an interesting side on the 40,000 universe, because everyone is pretty much just kill, smash, burn the heretic and so on. So having actual some interactions going on as well between the different races and so on is always a kind of cool lore bit to see. They also have shown here the trike, which we'll get later on. So we saw the old trike back in the picture here. Where are we here? In the saga, where they were showing some of these trikes. So this is the new one, which we will get to in a second. Which I'm not a huge fan. It almost is a turn off as a whole faction, and I was afraid the faction would go much more in this direction with this, how the trike looks and everything, and I seriously did not like that. But there are some later ones that they showed in news that then interested me a lot more. So in general, to be honest, so if we just jump here, I think we are here, and that's the Ironkin. So let's go back. Let's go to the trikes. So this is the old trike. It looks silly. And then here's the new one, and almost similar, exact same as the artwork. And I am not sold on this. It's like a teal colored copper pot. Kind of weird. I just don't like it. I do like the rider. The rider is kind of cool with the gun and everything. He looks, or she, I'm not sure. Might be a female dwarf. So they are Hearthkyn pioneers. And this is actually, it actually does say here that she is a female kin with the aviators and everything. So I do really like the model. The character model is great with the gun and everything. But I am not fan of the bikes. In any way, but I mean, not everyone. It's for everything. Everyone. I'm not a huge fan of the bikes for any of the factions, really, other than Eldar and I guess Dark Eldar as well. Eldari. But for example, like the Space Marine bikes and the Chaos Space Marine bikes have always looked kind of silly and almost like toyish to me, especially back in the 90s and early 2000s when I was very much into the Warhammer, much more. I played a lot more, and now I'm just mostly modeling, and they always looked pretty crappy. But that goes to a lot of other of the vehicles in the game as well, rhinos and some of the other tanks. I am not just a fan. But if I could get that model just as a separate one, or maybe in a more interesting vehicle. But yeah, this vehicle, the trike, is not for me. Hover trike and everything, it looks weird, but it looks also 40k for sure. All right, so let's go back. We're gonna go to the Mighty Hearthkyn. That's the core of the leagues. So this is basically your Space Marine basic troop equivalent of the Leagues of Votann, and they show here a lot more of the models, which obviously interests us a lot. Let me see if I can scroll that a little bit like that. There we go. Perfect. So here we have this is probably the most amazing of the dwarves. I love the aviators, sunglasses look, which also kind of goes with the other models as well. So they do seem to have a thing for eyewear, and also the same gun, same armor. So the earlier models we saw are obviously from the same squad as well, and then they have basically a sergeant or like a leader for the squad. I'm not a huge fan of the sword. It's a plasma sword. It looks kind of not fan of this kind of effects. They always look kind of weird and fake. I would probably switch that to something else myself. Just chop the arm. The other thing I'm not a huge fan of is this back piece that they have indicating kind of the leader of the squad. I am not a fan of this. We'll probably get a better picture of that from the side. And it's like this very like a Viking-ish kind of like a carving of like a headpiece on a boat or at the side of a building, and it kind of just stretches over here. I am not a fan of this. And if I will get these, which I will probably end up doing, getting some of these dwarves, I will extremely likely not use these myself. But let's take a look at some of the other models in here as well. Here's another couple of dwarves from the squad. This is actually an Ironkin. We'll check that in a second. So they have a mechanical full AIs helping them. So it's not just dwarves. They have actually Ironkin in the squad. A different gun. Looks very funky as well. And then another comms dwarf. They have some kind of antenna and also some kind of Pip-Boy on their wrist, it seems to be, and the gun. I really like the pose with the gun. It looks really great. Same weird domed head. Also, I'm not a huge fan of this dome, and this also reminds me of the models that the Adeptus Mechanicus has. Kind of same weird bulbous head. Not fan of the aesthetic with this helmet either, and I might have to do something with these helmets myself to change them around. Let's go forward though. So here, this helmet though, I don't know why this one with the full visor down. I guess it's the closed version with the visor kind of up that bothers me more. But this one, when you have the visor down and this kind of sniper rifle railgun, I guess, which looks actually pretty fantastic. I love the design of the gun. and the pose of the model. And then this helmet works much better on this. I'm not sure why. It might look horrible from the front. Maybe this is the good angle. But yeah, this is their helmet. Same faction icon, I imagine, and same kind of dwarf. Almost like a. There's like a vibe of almost like runes, but also like very like a Japan, like Asia vibe. I guess it's also the color scheme that also pushes that. Some more of the female dwarves here. I do like the fact that there are such female dwarves mixed in the troop squads and everything. They look fantastic. I love the hairstyle. Also, these hammers just hanging. They're dwarves, so obviously they need to have their hammers. And also kind of having like a backpack, and there's like a sleeping mats and whatnot. They're going on an adventure and exploring, I guess, much more than just warfare in the 40k world, like most of these other ones. Also an interesting like a revolver pistol, and same like a plasma knife. Still not fan of that. I might actually not, if I do this, I might just make them into non-plasma knives, or just replace them with something. This is like a good grenade to me. And let's go to the next one, and we have some more. The guy we saw already earlier, and a different. Not a comms one, but this has like this weird camera system and these goggles and a lamp or some kind of something, and another weird kind of antenna thing. I wonder what this unit is doing. It's just like a they have like a map looking thing on the wrist as well. So they have these two weird like the comms dwarf and this like a techie dwarf almost. And I wonder what is their role in the squad. Like, are there some special weapons, artillery, something interesting like that. So it's actually kind of cool. We're back to the first picture with the fantastic classes. So let's roll down, and they go down talking about the Hearthkyn warriors and their particular clone skins, which is the basically a pattern how they've been cloned. They're specialized into combat, which affects heightened senses, stamina, and so on, ability in the dark, and so on. And then also augmenting with mechanical limbs and synthetic organs. Very, very Space Marine almost, because obviously they go through a massive restructuring of their bodies as a part of the becoming of Space Marine. So these are almost a dwarfy version of them, it seems to be. And then, yeah, this is talking about the Ironkin, who also shoulder the fight with them. They are kin, even in war. So they are considered as like a full members of the society, not just a robot that helps you, but they're actually considered as much a dwarf as the normal flesh and blood dwarves, which is very interesting to see in a 40k universe, because obviously Imperium is very much not about that whole AI Men of Iron thing, which is a slightly heresy and not really allowed. So that's gonna probably rub at least the Imperium a little wrong with the squads, which is kind of cool. And let's scroll down for a little more. So here we see the shoulder or the weird leader mark backpack thing, and I am not a fan of this. Not at all. So we'll chop it off there and there. It's probably just actually glued onto the back of, but yeah, I am definitely not using this. This weird, I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. It kind of looks like a weird dog face, and this one looks more like a boar. But yeah, I'm not this kind of Viking-ish vibe to them, which is kind of normal vibe to go with the dwarves in any fantasy. I am not a fan of this. This is definitely coming off. And let's just go down. They show some of their weapon options. Your weird swords and everything. Then a little bigger guns. There's the rail rifle and so on. All right, and then we go Ironkin. Here's some more of the Ironkin pictures. This one a little different from the what in that squad. This is more a mechanic of Ironkin, I guess. There's all the tools with him. This very weird looking gun. It almost looks like there's a paint thing. It's actually a paint gun with scope. seems to be, and lots of tools, and then a hammer, obviously. And I wonder if these are going to be some kind of mechanics for the armies. But very interesting to see that they're basically having a kind of exact same body configuration as the dwarves and all armor and everything, but they're like totally robots. And it's interesting to see how the rules differ. Like in the previous squad, it seems to be in the Hearthkyn here that the Ironkin is just mixed into the squad, so it's gonna be just like a special model in the squad. And how do they differ from the actual dwarves, like stats wise and everything, and rule wise? It's gonna be interesting to see and how they help the squad. You can actually see the runes again here better. That is almost a very like this inspired like Japanese for me for some reason, and also like you smash the Scandinavia and Japan together, and the out comes space dwarves and their language, and I kind of did the whole thing, I guess. And let's go. So the next one here we had a trike again. Still hasn't gone any better. And then we go to the newest of the new news. So Exo Armors turns Leagues of Votann elites into mountains of muscle and guns. So these are the Terran Marines from StarCraft 2 that everyone has made a joke about. And they kind of do look that very much, like very much. This is Tychus Finley, or whatever it's called, or Jim Raynor. Just changed the armor scheme, the color scheme a little bit. I like this model a lot. There's a lot to like. Also, someone said that this is basically a dwarf Doom guy, and I was like, maybe I need to paint this with the Doom guy color scheme, from like having the sword and the gun and everything. This armor. They look really cool. I like these models. These are great. I would love to see a helmeted version of this. I don't... These open helmet ones. I really like, let's go here. Like, she doesn't have any kind of helmet. I prefer this, definitely, over these, like, half-closed helmets. Either give me, like, a full-closed, or give me an open helmet like this one. I don't like this middle... open a visor thing, visor down or no helmet at all. And there's also the other thing is that I don't really like in this model. I don't like the blade gauntlet, the plasma thing. It looks awfully awkward to do anything, because you have like this bit sticking out of here. Even if you turn the plasma off, I guess you would still have this thing. It doesn't seem to be like you can turn it off on the side or anything. Like, you can't use your arm for anything while you have this gauntlet on. It just looks silly. I don't know. They should have just given the better basically a dwarven power fist, which I actually might just chop the arm off, or chop this blade off, because these arms or the fists do seem to be a little bigger, or just get some power fists from any Space Marine kit, slap a little of this dwarven iconography on it, and call it a good. Just call it the dwarven power fist, and I think that would have been a really better. Just imagine this thing running at you and punching you with a massive fist instead of this weird plasma blade gauntlet thing. It's just this is silly. I don't like this. Just chop it off there, and we're very good. The gun, amazing. I love the gun. I love the really bulky look of the armor. Like, it's actually like chunky armor. It also looks a little bit. Like, these are the American football players of the squad world with their massive shoulder pads and everything. And I do like also that there's this whole multi-layering and lots of edges on this armor, and lots of plates that's made of different, and then there's like a multi-layering in here. Like, you have the inner shoulder, and then you have the over plates here. But again, as previously, the color scheme of this is just terrible, in my opinion. And I saw like the red version of this, and some of them look like white version with just like stripes and things, and that looked much better. So definitely, this color scheme is not for me. I also like the shoulder mounted like a grenade launcher, also really cool. And then this like inlaid gold pieces here and everything, and on like a searchlight in the front. Looks really neat. So let's take a look at some of the other models as well. You can see the shoulder mounted grenade launcher here. So I guess this is a standard for the unit. Like, there's another one with this as well. So it looks like the shoulder mounted grenade launcher is a part of the. It has a drum even, so you can keep chunking some grenades, and it's kind of cool how it's attached to the back and everything. I also like these rivets in a different color, and I kind of wish I want to try or see a different color scheme for these, and I would like to make like the inner portion here in these parts darker, and also like here and some of these other pads and things a little darker in a color scheme, like dark green here if you keep the same greenish color, and then these outer plates a little more battle damaged and also a little lighter color. Like you have the gauntlet in black here, and I think if this black was added a little bit more like on this under armor here and maybe some of these bits here and so on, I think it would make the color scheme a little better, and definitely with the totally different color scheme as well. But yeah, the gun again, really cool. It's almost like it looks like a pistol, but just massively sized pistol. And then just these separations of the plates, it's just really cool. And they have really chunky front here. And it also, on the back, when we see a little, the back side also looks very, very like thick armor. You can kind of see how it goes in the back here. Like you can see it goes a lot far further there. They're really heavily armored. I also really like the coil looking thing at the back here. I'm not sure what it is, but it seems to be like coiling around here, almost like a magnetic coil. And also you can see that there's like these small bits of metal helper. It's obviously like a very powered armor. But you can see some of the mechanics, like you don't, Space Marine is power armor, you don't really see on any of these mechanisms like outside the armor, and you can see a little bit more here, and also much more in the backside once we get to the backside picture. Another one, not sure if I like the face, but it's a same model with a different head, and then there's the leader model with the hammer, which I'm not really sure if I like the hammer as well. Might have to figure out another power fist, and then terrible backs, whatever this is for the leader. Not sure I like that. Also, interestingly, there's like almost like a facial scarification, like a ritual scarification that even some real life tribes and so on have done. It seems to be like this dwarf is sporting that kind of similar thing, and it's kind of interesting if that's actually some kind of a like a ritual thing that they do. And then again this logo here, and then we go back to the weird plate. So let's scroll down. We get to see some of the more details from the back. You can see much more of the the piping here, and then you can see like this looks almost like an actual spine. And I wonder if they did say that some of the dwarves are like biomechanically altered. So I'm wondering if this is part of that where they have like this basically like a exoskeleton attached like actual like a part of their body, and then that just attaches to the suit to control it, and that's kind of cool. But I do like the like a metal spine that shows in the back. I actually just painted some hell brutes, which I didn't get to finish, and this hell brute has also like a bones sticking from the back, so it instantly reminded me of that, but this one has the metal ones, and it's really cool. I do the backside does some justice with the butt protection plates and everything, and it's really cool. And then there's the hammer, better view of the hammer. Not a fan, but it does look a dwarven space powered hammer. We'll definitely need to replace this. I would love to get power fists. And yeah, they have Vulcan disintegrators and shoulder-mounted grenade launchers. Solid curtain of fire as they advance. So these are almost if the other squad was your standard Space Marine, these are basically the Terminator dwarves, and they're kind of cool Terminator dwarves. But I think a little bit of conversion will make them even cooler. And then again, showing this, it's just slapped in the back there with a horse head. Not a fan. I would just take this bit, put the headband on this dude and have a massive ponytail or something. I just don't like these. These things are ugly as sin, in my opinion. But yeah, that's the newest news of the exo armors. And these, like I said, like the trike, wherever we have the trike here, the trike kind of put me off on these totally. The previous, the Hearthkyn, I really like these guys. Again, I think we can do a lot of fun things with these guys. And then the trike, the Ironkin, love it as well. Wanna see more of this. Not super sold on this. It feels Adeptus Mechanicus or something similar. Could have been a little more interesting. And then yeah, this thing has just put me off so much of the dwarves, and I was like, I guess I'm not doing anything with the dwarves. But then the exo armors again got me rolling. So I'm eager to see what else they have to announce. And whenever we get our fingers on these awesome dwarven models, might be a while still, I imagine, if they are drip feeding us with this information, and we might be seeing them maybe say end of the year, Christmas, so on. So hopefully we get them soon. And they did release one thing we can already have our hands on. So this is the Ironhead Squat Prospector Kang for the Necromunda Ash Waste. So these are the same basically squats, but these are more like a mining, more like I guess a civilian dwarves in the Necromunda. But you can see a lot of similar aesthetics in these ones. Obviously a lot less armor, lot less guns and everything, but still look kind of small and squatty. Not a huge fan of these either. Some of the other Necromunda models are much cooler. I don't like the helmets again. But I have a generally a thing. Me and helmets and headwear in real life and video games. My head is massive, and most of the heads, like helmets and hats and whatnot, really just don't suit my head or even fit my head. So I think that comes from there. And I don't like most of the helmets and headgear video games also offer me. So I think that same thing might carry into the models, especially like these dwarves. And I just don't like the look of these. And it would be interesting to see these guys without the weird helmets and just have sunglasses and open a helmet or no helmet at all, basically. I think this color scheme also is something that is putting me off again. Like the gun is the same weird teal color as the other squads earlier, and then this white, black, and the yellow helmet clashes there very badly, in my opinion. But yeah, that's squads and all the current news. I am very much looking forward to at least getting some of these new mountains of muscle and guns, and at least the standard squad, the Mighty Hearthkyn here. Both of these are definitely very neat looking ones, and maybe could be a good conversion also for the Deep Rock Galactica. Anyways, that's some of the squads. As we get more news and maybe release dates and so on, we'll take a look again at the models. Maybe the whole range once that gets announced, or if they release. We haven't seen any like characters yet. Do they have characters? We know they have the ancient ancestor cores, which are basically the data banks of all the information, but they are also sentient and little crumbly because their RAM is running out. More or less. I recommend reading the lore. I want to see the full lore for these guys as well. But I wonder if you're actually getting I imagine since every other army has some kind of special characters, that we are going to see some dwarven special characters. Maybe on some weird funky dwarven vehicles, or I don't know, dwarven mobile suit. Since we have like rumors that they are trading with the Tau, and some of the railgun tech has been maybe moving hands between them. And so on. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they come up with these. And once we get some more information, I'll talk about them again. Ramble for 40 minutes about dwarves in the middle of the night, as today. So anyways, that's me and the ramble of the dwarves for now. And yeah, check out other videos as I post them. I'll try to keep the weekly routine going. Check out the Instagram. I posted it under the video in the information. Same with the Twitter and everything if you want to keep up with what I'm painting and so on. We need to do some showcases and also do some videos of what we have been painting and what we will be converting and everything. I'm still waiting for my bits for some of the conversions and so on. And also do all the YouTube things. So follow, subscribe, ring the bell icon, and all of that nonsense that YouTube does. If you want to see more of my videos and everything. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully with some more models and dwarves and things. Anyways, see ya.